Good day, everyone. I'm John, moderator for this webinar. Welcome everyone for today's webinar, Dress and Appearance Code, Rights, Responsibilities, and Potential Liabilities for 2022. I would now like to introduce our presenter for today, Dr. Susan Strauss. Dr. Susan is a national and international conference speaker and trainer in organizational effectiveness and management development. She has established numerous onboarding, new employee orientation programs for both small and large organizations. Susan has her doctorate in organizational leadership, a master's degree in community health, and is a former RN. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Susan.
Thank you, and greetings everybody from Minnesota. Really going to be talking about dress and appearance code today. And oftentimes this comes up as it relates to discrimination and harassment. And these are the objectives for today. One, we'll discuss why is a dress and appearance code an advantage to an employer and an employee? What about some of the legal issues associated with dress and appearance? We'll look at some best practices for a dress code, and we'll describe how both explicit and implicit bias influence our dress codes. So dress versus appearance. Let's take a look at all the issues that are involved in this. Hair. Oh, that has become more and more of an issue. There's new legislation now in many states called the Crown Bill, because we've had many states that have laws through their legislature that you cannot discriminate against somebody based on how they wear their hair, if it is based on their ethnicity. So keep that in mind. Makeup plays a role. And I think that might play a role with women, but please be aware it can play a role with men. And if you've got a transgender or a person that is transitioning, you may have men that are wearing what we have traditionally thought of as women's makeup. Nails. I don't know, have you seen how some people are wearing their nails lately? Oh my gosh, it looks like they'd kill you if they accidentally stabbed you. But primarily what we're looking at is, are the nails too long? And what about cleanliness? What about health? You know, gunk gets caught under nails, as you well know. And then what about fragrance? Now, do you think it's possible that fragrance could become something that becomes illegal? Now, we've got to think, sometimes fragrance and hygiene, people put them together. But, you know, many of the different countries have fragrance as an important part of their culture. The French, the Italian, the Arabs, that's part of their culture, and fragrance is important. Jewelry is not often a problem unless it's dealing with health or safety. Jewelry can sometimes contain, symbols or pictures that would be offensive to others. So why a dress and appearance policy? Well, one of the things it does is it does set clear expectations. It projects the organization's image. It promotes a productive work environment, complying with health and safety standards. It can prevent claims of discrimination and harassment. And hopefully, it will outline what is and is not permitted. So what are some ways that we can discriminate? Well, gender. I'm going to put gender/sex. And we have to remember that we have people that do not necessarily dress according to their sex. I think as women, we have more freedom in how we express our gender or our sex. For us, we can wear pants, we can wear a skirt, we can wear a dress. I don't think society is as generous to men if they were to be wearing a skirt or a dress. Age. I'm going to get into age. Age can be associated with appearance. Then religion. I'm going to get into that in a little bit more detail as well. Religion would require an accommodation unless it's an undue hardship. And then race. Now there's race, there's color, and there's ethnicity. Those are three distinct protected classes. Then we add that the national origin, which is ethnicity. So tips for your dress code then. Tailor it carefully. You might want to leave it very broad. Address issues that the organization and the clients care about, such as diversity, inclusion. Include language that protects your protected classes, and look at not only the protected classes federally, but what are the protected classes for your state and for your city. Provide the policy during the hiring interview, and you want to do that because this is the other thing you do. You provide the policy to your candidate and you ask them to read through it, and you ask, is there anything in our policy that would be difficult for you to follow? So if the candidate says no, they can't align with some of the things, you ask why. You say, well, tell me a little bit more about that. Let's see if we can do something to help. I encourage you to take the IAT, Implicit Association Test. Maybe some of you already have. It measures your unconscious biases. It is confidential. It's anonymous. It's been under a ton of different studies, and for validity and reliability, some people are starting to question it now, but you will learn from it. It's interesting. So think about your different departments, different situation. Would they be different dress codes? Might people that are in sales have to dress quote unquote more professionally than how we might see people in IT, for example? So your policy then needs to include some rules. What is and is not acceptable and why. The rationale for rules is important. And then what are the consequences for violating the rules? And you give those examples. What does it mean to be compliant? What does it mean to not be compliant? Okay, thank you, John. First of all, thanks everybody for joining us. I hope that you found this helpful. Bye-bye.